Greetings, vloggers, bloggers, and followers. Another great Sunday here. Time to blog again. It's number 58 of the series. Another joyful afternoon. Today we're going to talk about trust. And, trust has its ways about the autism spectrum. Autistics, sometimes fall real easy for trust. They feel more trusting of people than people, especially people that they are not aware of or don't have the comfort zone with, than others. Some are not as trusting, are too trusting, and some are not as trusting. Personally, I like to lean towards I'm totally not, I have boundaries. I've worked, I've defensively set up boundaries to protect myself, and I think that's a good thing. That's a good quality of somebody on the autism spectrum. Not many do have that, or it's a learning process for some, and it's a challenge. You just have to think. How sometimes we're looked at as targets, and it's an honest truth. Because we lack certain skill sets that the knowledge is not that they know, they see it like an open door, and it's an open book, and sometimes we are open too much about our thing, our business or whatever. And so we tend sometimes to give in to people unless we develop a bond, or develop we know a person for a while. I thought I've not done too many things that have been taken advantage of. I'm very I just think it's a lot of skill with my parents that have taught me not to be so open, about certain things, like financial things, or, things of, a personal nature of, home, or, anything like that. I think that's a big key. It's also a big key in independence. When an individual who will live independently, who to give information to, who not to give information to, so on and so forth. That's a big challenge for some, and it can be a challenge, and I've seen it be challenges in others, and I've seen not only with people with autism, but people with that are other conditions, be taken advantage of because of their inability to see people being nice, their ability that they only see people being nice, and they're not seeing the whole picture of how they're going to, how they're trying to take advantage of them, taking a card, a debit card or a food stamp card, going to a store and buying things, that poses a challenge. I would personally never ever. I don't ever recommend doing that unless you really, I personally don't ever do that. And I don't ever recommend anybody ever doing that in any instance. But I've seen it done, with things. And, because that person's just too lazy or whatever. Not lazy, but just doesn't want to do it. And so, and then they get disadvantaged, and they get taken advantage of, and it's a horrible thing, and people should learn that I don't know, it's just and likewise people with autism do it too, but it's just you should have to, it should be a mutual thing, that you understand that there has to be more education in this area. That's just basically how it stands. There has to be more education, on community strength and safety and awareness. I remember going to, you just go into places and people talking, and you just don't want to give out too much information, or what is information shared, what is information not shared, what stays in the home, what stays out of the home, there has to be a better degree of certainty of what that is, because it provides a precarious situation, and that's a shame, because that's where the potential of having people, autistic people, be so successful in our communities is if they don't, is if they know what's to be shared and what's not to be shared, and all that stuff. So it's a big thing. I think it's a matter of trust, and I think it needs to be taught more. Um, you know, we have brilliant minds, and we have brilliant capabilities, and if we're not trusted, or we don't feel trusted, sometimes that diminishes our capabilities to be smart, and be feel smart, and feel valued, and feel wanted. It's a need that needs to be brought to the attention of the autism community, and also other communities. But I just think you have to realize, if it doesn't sound right, it obviously isn't right. So if it doesn't seem normal, but sometimes we as the autism community don't see it as normal. We think of it as nothing. But if we don't see what those, if we're not, for us that are lucky enough to have people we know, we trust, modeling these things, if we think it's okay for them to do it, then it's not. Um, you know, I watch people do things, and I think, well, my mother or my father doesn't do that in the community. It's not necessarily the smartest thing to do, but it's a very open field. It just opens itself up, to cans of worms. And I just hope that anybody who listens to this just thinks, think before you speak. Just think before giving information. That's such a thing. I think with technology today, and things of that nature, is there's so many ways to get out your personal information, and you just have to be so careful. And I have personally, I don't mention a lot on here, and I don't mention a lot about my personal information. Not that not that you can draw the clues, but it's just like, you just got to be so careful these days. And that's just the thing. Like, you have to have that defense mechanism, and guarding that personal information is your best defense mechanism. So with that, I thank you. As always, like, follow, subscribe, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Thank you, and have a good week.